Hello back there. Hey, there's Cliff. Come on out there. Mr. Cliff Simon! Mr. Robin Carter! Oh, very good. Now let me know. Hi guys, how are ya?
Our two stars, Joe and Richard, will be here as soon as possible.
Hi, are you having fun? Good. Tell me.
How's everyone doing?
This is the longest table panel we've had in like 3 years. I can't. Hello, how's the weather down there? Hi.
You guys got better, actually. Just be like that show.
Together, right?
You don't want to see me if I drink whiskey, but yeah.
So I always ask this: what interesting sights have you seen since we last spoke?
A very itchy bee man. The man dressed, I don't know if he was a bee or a flower, but he was really itchy, and I was just transfixed throughout all of dinner last night. My jaw was on the floor looking at this man.
Is that the story I heard?
Yeah, it was bizarre. He was really itchy, and I'm worried about him today. He's probably coming as well. Embarrassed again.
You put my jacket on last night, and trust me, I got many heat rashes. She had the jacket on last night, so.
This poor man suffers from shingles, and Tori is making fun of him. Sorry. I got a costume in the bathroom, so.
So Cliff, oh
Yes.
Lord, is this the setup? I've been told to ask you about the dream last night.
About, oh, the dream. Okay. It's gonna sound, but it's not anything. Well, it's something. Let me get on with it. Last night I had a dream about Tori. Yeah. I've never dreamt about Tori before, and I've known her for years. But she was in my dream last night. I went to sleep early for a change. And she told me this morning that she put on this jacket at the charity auction last night. And I said, well, what time was that? And she said around about 10:30. And I was fast asleep by 10:30. And I had a dream about her when she put the jacket on. So that's about it. I mean, it's just pretty...
The ball costume, if any of you have been to the track room that we had that came from prop work that Cliff actually wore, that Tori was wearing last night. That's kind of cool.
It was just quite a strange thing, you know? But I believe in that kind of stuff. We're sensitive.
Do you want me to tell you what that dream was about?
I don't know if she had a few balls in her hand.
It's performance anxiety. I've had the same dream myself.
Well, okay then. You have a mic at this end.
What?
You have a mic at that end.
Sure.
Apparently.
We are honored to have Mr. Anderson here with us today.
taking questions from the audience and asking them from the podium. Well, not the podium, but anyway. So the first question we have just to kick off the day is, when you got involved in Stargate, did you have any idea what you were getting into? As far as all this goes, I mean, did you ever imagine sitting here with crazy people?
No, I'll start. No, I had no idea what I was getting into. I first went to a panel at Comic-Con, and it was probably twice the size of this room, and it's the first time I've ever been up in front of this many people. And the show hadn't come out yet, or my episodes haven't come out yet, and it was the scariest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And I knew it was. I had to deal with it. All right.
I remember we had a similar experience when the first Comic-Con I did was before Atlanta was even aired, and we went up to San Diego, or down to San Diego, and the studio had taken us all out for dinner the night before. So, you know, we're actors, free food, free alcohol. We indulged. I remember being so hungover the next day I could barely speak, and we thought, we have to do this panel. I figured there'll be 10, 20 people. The show's not on the air. They opened the door. It was, I think it was like a football field of you guys, and none of us could speak, right? We were out of scream.
I peed a little bit.
But that was the beginning, and terrifying and wonderful.
Yeah, I had no idea what we were getting into, but you know, walking on set and meeting guys like Rick and everybody, it was almost like, you know, the guys who were coming out of battle, and then the guys who were going in. Like, good luck, rookie. Right? But, you know, I didn't know what we were getting into, and so I invited the cast over before we started doing the show, and I screamed Galaxy Quest. And at the end of it, Tori is next to me, and she turns to me kind of slowly, and she says, I don't know if I should laugh or cry. I think that kind of sums it up.
You asked if we expected this out of conventions.
Well, I mean, did you ever see a day when you'd be, you know, having such a fan response and how huge the franchise has gotten?
Oh,
or the franchise did get.
Yeah, I mean, right at the beginning for me, when I joined the show, the first show I did was in Germany, and I was there with Peter DeLuise and Michael Shakes and them, and of course Peter being Peter. It was, it was completely overwhelming for me, because it's in South Africa, the show I was on, because South Africa is so much smaller, it was very, very popular. You know, you couldn't go anywhere, and we'd done talks to big crowds of people, 50,000 people in soccer stadiums and that kind of stuff. But it's a different, the sci-fi genre is so different and so much more intense. So yeah, I was completely overwhelmed with all of that, and I mean the way the show is just, you guys have just kept it alive is amazing. Thank you.
Before my experience with Stargate fans, I was involved in another minor science fiction project. And when the first convention I went to for the other franchise, the name of which I will not speak, I remember I think 3 episodes of the show had aired, and about 1,500 or 2,000 people in Boston stood up and cheered as I walked onto the stage, and I thought, who would not like this? I live with 3 women who pay very little attention to anything I say. So to go into a large room of people and have you hang on my every word is a delightful experience, and I thank you.
What was the question? Honestly, is anybody else having a hard time understanding? Is the acoustic situation in here terrible? Yeah. Let's go outside. Seriously, I don't even know what the question is.
When you got started with Stargate, can you hear me? This is why you should be sitting here. I can hand you these like When you got started with Stargate, did you have any idea how huge it was going to become? And did you foresee all this? Or did you hope for all this? Or are you really thankful?
Yes. Any questions? No, I didn't have any idea. I didn't even know. Well, MGM called me because they had made a movie that was kind of had a bit of kind of a cultish hit with Kurt Russell and Spade. And when they asked me to do the Jack role, I said I'd be happy to, but you're going to have to be trusting in that. First of all, my hair won't do that. And I quit smoking a long time ago, so that was easy to write out. But as far as its growth, we had 2 franchises working for us out of the box. And the movie, and then they said that the MacGyver audience was pretty loyal. So we had pretty good standing at the beginning.
All right, looking back on all 3 series involved in the franchise, were there any other roles other than ones you played, or 20 or 40, that you would like to have played during the time you were on Stargate, or during the run of Stargate? You can't understand me.
I'm right here, I can't understand you.
Take the mic.
It's not.
Can you hear, wait.
Yeah.
Can you hear me any better? Okay. Kill this one. Okay, it's dead. Okay. During the run of Stargate in all 3 series in the franchise, were there any other roles other than the ones that you played that you would like to have explored yourself? Who would you have played other than Ronan, Weir, etc.?
I would have liked to play Ronan.
I would have liked to have played Tori's role. She worked 1 day a week. It was great.
Yeah, follow. Yeah, baby.
I don't know about Cliff's role. I'd like to have his abs.
You 2 can have his abs. The X90. Is the question still up? Oh, I know. There was a half whore. Anybody? The fact that I could remember that name should be testament to something.
All right, we're going to go to some of our audience questions. This one is just for Robert Picardo, as a follow-up to what you said earlier about your unnamed series. To Robert Picardo, how does it feel being so awesome? Do you just call any show you want and tell them to give you a part?
Sorry, I didn't do the part being cheered at. I checked out at Awesome.
You should keep this.
Take a copy.
Put that thing in a plaque.
You just on any show you want to tell. No. Here's what it's like to be awesome. What I do is I can just check into any hotel room anywhere in the world and I'm delighted to be there by myself. I call people up and I tell them, guess who I'm in the room with? Robert Picardo. Do I just call on any show? No, but apparently the producers of Stargate did watch the other show that I was on, and why they picked me from that to play the biggest dick ever introduced on Stargate, I don't know, because I thought I was kind of lovable in the other show. But then once they decided they liked having me around, they had painted themselves into a terrible corner where they'd introduced me as a big dick, and then they had to kind of back off of that. So slowly they rehabilitated me, and then I got to take over.
For Mr. Anderson, you got your start as Jeff Weber on General Hospital. Reminding you, yeah. How does working on a soap opera compare to the other work or shows that you have done? This is from Bob and Nikki.
Technically, it's different in that, well, first of all, I did General Hospital in the 70s, so I was still a bit affected by the late 60s. So that took some adjusting right there. But, no, you all know this, right? Doing a soap opera, you show up in the morning, you hopefully have the script the night before. If not, you pick it up, go through it, and you rehearse. I think then you go to somewhere else, and then come back and rehearse again, and then someplace else, come back and dress rehearse, and then shoot it. It's all in my book, I swear. But like doing a television, like I almost said real television show. It's just a different schedule. You're shooting like a miniature movie throughout the course of a week, so you can dole it out and use greater locations, whereas soap operas are all in a box, pretty much, as I recall. But I don't know, the money's different, I guess. I hear. I didn't mean to be so flippant about that, but it's my nature. Yeah.
All right. For any panelists who'd like to answer, what was the best piece of advice you were given when cast on your Stargate show? And who gave it to you?
Don't do it.
I have died.
The best piece of advice you were given about joining the Stargate group franchise?
Nobody gave me any advice to do it.
Well, okay.
Actually, I don't know if Rick may or may not remember this. As you can see, sometimes he doesn't remember all the details. But we were on an airplane together, traveling back and forth between LA and Vancouver, and we have been doing Stargate for, I don't know, like 137 years. How long did it go on? Longest running show ever. And I think he said something to the effect of, don't let them give you all that gobbledygook dialogue. Be bad at it, and then they won't give it to you. Got me through 5 years. Thank you, Rick.
I never used the word gobbledygook in my life. To just set the details straight. No, but it's true. I was told early on by a soap opera actor that I was working with when I first started out, and they kept piling on tons and tons of dialogue on me. I'm the new kid on the block, right? So I'd go home and just study, and come home and go to work and study, and then just go through a torturous 3 years, and then signed on for 2 more for some reason. And then I finally asked this guy, his first name was Brett, go figure. And he just said, I asked him the same question. I said, why do you get off saying yes and no and he said, well, you made the mistake of proving that you could do it. That was my mistake. So, play dumb.
Clearly, we are all fans of Stargate. What shows, television shows, are you fans of, or if you're not a TV person, what books?
What fans are we of? I only watch South Park, The Simpsons, and American Dad.
Family Guy?
Family Guy, I'm sorry. 100% Family Guy. That's what I like. That's for me, that's what I get entertained by that. I don't have the time or the patience actually to get involved in any kind of series, but there are some good shows for sure.
Anything on Adult Swim?
I'm a little more highbrow than Cliff. I watch South Park. I've become an aficionado of the regular show. Okay. The regular show. This man over here, in addition to not having too much dialogue, which is great, also doesn't have a television at home. So when I make these references often, he doesn't know them. I send smoke signals to Jason. Get a cell phone.
It's kind of weird, but I'm actually a really big fan of Game of Thrones, and kind of dorky to say that, but I'm a super fan of Game of Thrones.
I like Homeland. I watch Homeland, which is really cool. I also watch Family Guy, because this guy got me started on it. And I watch South Park, and I watch a lot of MSNBC, and then I watch Netflix. I'm catching up on season 5 now of 24.
I don't really have a television, and I just discovered this thing called Netflix, so you can watch shows, and I've recently discovered this show, which is pretty cool, called Mad Men. I'm still like 10 years behind. There's another show I'm looking forward to watching called The Sopranos. I guess you wanted that for that.
What's there's a new show with, I think it's HBO thing, but it's got the word news in it. Best show on television right now.
I actually have seen that one. That's awesome. It's really Jeff Daniels, right?
Okay, question for Jason. Just in close second, or you can hear me. Did you have any fighting skills before Atlantis, or did you learn after being cast?
I learned after being cast. I grew up in the middle of America in Iowa, a small town, and everyone was white, so normally I just got beat up. I didn't grow up until I got out of high school, and then when I came back, big fucking mistake, buddy.
Okay, this is one that I have had like 9 people ask now, and I keep putting it away, so I guess it's really popular. What is the significance of all the Wizard of Oz references? Okay?
No.
Okay, there you go. Everybody keeps...
I don't know what they were trying to do. I wasn't on the show then, where I wasn't on that episode. God bless. Is that what you're asking?
Just the Wizard. Everybody seems to want to know what...
There was an episode where they all took on characters.
Well, no, 200 there's a little thing, yeah, but apparently it runs throughout the entire series. They keep making references. We'll move on.
No, not Wizard of Oz. Simpsons, yeah, but Wizard of Oz. Like what? What? Yeah, but, you know. Name another one. Oh, to Oz? I'm sorry, I don't remember what I said. That's part of the problem they had.
I think I can anticipate the answer of this, but was there any point that just made you wonder, why did I take this job?
Well, actually, going back to the Wizard of Oz thing, the producers did ask me to wear red ruby high heels at the beginning.
Oh, God.
So I wavered just for a second.
Can you tell me or tell us about any particular mannerisms or phrases that you injected into your character that was not part of the script, that was kept, that your personality coming through into your character? He's not going to like me after this, you guys. Well, that's why you're supposed to sit down here.
You have to put some, like, you have to put some bass in your voice, and these guys have got to put some treble in their voice. Like this. It all blends together.
If I talk down here, does it help?
Play the mic. Play the mic. Stand up. Now sit down. Jeez, woman.
Richard Dean Anderson. I don't know if you'll remember this moment. It was the first episode we were shooting the pilot of Atlantis, and because I was brought up by British parents and I spent a lot of time in Britain, some of my vocabulary is sort of mid-Atlantic, and I'm pretty good with my lines. I usually know them and I usually get them out. And it was the pilot, and I was nervous. It was the first scene we had together. We were walking through a corridor, and I messed up my line. And the first thing out of my mouth, so I didn't want to say, F or, that word. I don't know if my kids are here. So I said, oh, bugger me.